Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Suffer Up podcast with Nate and Ryan. Today, we have a guest with us, Adam Atallah. He is a coach, fitness guru, and has a bunch of insightful things for us today to go over to start your fitness journey or enhance your fitness journey on wherever you are at. We will have all of his information in the description of the show notes here of the Suffer Up podcast on this episode. But before we get started, we want to give a very special thank you and shout out to our sponsor, Soft Socks. For those of you who have listened to our channel, you know about Soft Socks, but we're going to tell you anyway. Soft Socks makes a compression-fitting toe sock for your feet. They were designed and researched with podiatrist backing for a toe sock that will hug your foot in all the right places. Ryan has worn them on his 100-mile run. I have worn them on a couple other ultras. And our feet have come out on the other side very happy and weathered quite well. We believe in them. We have tested them, and they have stood the test of the ultra community. If you'd like to try a pair, please go over to our link tree in the show notes and click on the Soft Socks link, and you can use discount code SUFFER10 at checkout to receive 10% off of your pair of socks. So sit back and enjoy today's episode with Coach Adam, and we want to introduce him to you now. So Adam, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, fellas. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be on here. Dude, Soft Socks, I am not aware. Give me the good here. What is this, like the go-to? Can I wear them on a regular basis as well? Like just anytime I want? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, man. Soft Socks is a veteran-owned company. They're local to us here in Pensacola.
No kidding. Okay.
We met them at another run event, and they're just nice people. And we started talking to them. We're like, hey, let me buy a pair of your socks. Bought them. And I was like, dude, these are great. I was like, Nate, you got to try them. So I got Nate a pair. And soon enough, we're like, man, we're starting a podcast. We got to sponsor us. And right off the bat, like, I don't even think we had published an episode yet. And they were on board. They were like, yep, you're veteran owned, or I'm a veteran and Nate's a firefighter. So they're like, veteran first responder. You guys fit our bill and we want to support you.
That's
so
right.
They believed in us from the get-go, and that meant a lot to us, but also their product is just rock solid, dude. I work in landscaping now, and I wear those socks all day working, and then I'll come home, throw my running shoes on, go for a run, and man, they are just outstanding socks.
So I'm a big believer in having the right kind of performance, right? So I think, hey, if I'm going to do something, like I want to be equipped with the right stuff. And I'm always I'm always listening. I'm always watching. I'm looking around like, okay, what are people doing? What do people have? What are they wearing, drinking, whatever it might be. And so when I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to take a look. Is that a level up? But you don't go cheap on those things, right? You don't go, if you are into ultras, if you are into that, you don't go cheap on the socks. You make sure that the shoe that you're wearing is the one that fits your foot right. You do all the necessary things to be at optimal performance. Like if you're overlooking those things, you're being foolish. So, okay, mental note, Soft Socks, we'll have to check them out too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you're exactly right. You don't skimp on those things. And like in this day and age, everybody researches everything to a crazy level. And, we make sure we get the right shoes. We make sure we're getting the right nutrition stuff, all that. Well, socks are just as important, and you got to wear them with your shoes. So I would absolutely recommend somebody at least try them out. I think I have like probably a sock for every day of the week now, like 7 or 8 pairs of soft socks at this point. But I have had some of them since the very beginning, about a year ago.
Okay, so they got good duration too. So not only that,
literally this past week, it was the first time that I found a hole in one of my soft socks, and it's under my big toe. And I'm pretty sure it's one of the pairs that I wore on my 100-miler. So it's got a little bit of grace in that department.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it withstood a lot. So that's great. Well, I'm going to check that out. Softsocks.com, or I'm putting you on the spot there. Like, where am I going?
Soft Socks, like SOFSOCS, softsocks.com.
Okay.
And they're great. And I mean, we can nerd out on foot science and all that, but really, your foot's supposed to display like a duck, right? And a lot of these socks make your toes pigeon-toed, and they start crossing over, and you get blisters and all this and that. So, they're a great.
I'm a wide toe box guy too. I've started to look into the wide toe box shoes along with that. So just like understanding that, like even my pair of trainers that I use in the weight room is a wider toe box now. And I wouldn't say it's like the life-changing thing that's made my training better, but I absolutely think it's another competitive advantage to just make sure that you have of something like that. So yeah, that's awesome, guys. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely, yeah. And on that note too, just a little advice for you, I guess, as far if you're looking at wide toe box shoes, we have ran in and enjoy also the Ultra shoes because they are a zero drop shoe. They got low profile shoes, but the toe box is also nice and wide. So you have to check them out if you haven't used them as well. So
I've been eyeing their Gore-Tex line for like an all-purpose shoe, not necessarily for like ultra running, but just I can throw them on. They look good. They look the part. They kind of have a little bit more tactical feel to them. But I was like, I saw those. So yeah, man, I love it, dude. I love it. We're all on the same page here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think the Ultra Escalante is like a thinner shoe. That would be a good like weightlifting shoe.
Yep. I haven't looked at the weightlifting ones either. So, but this is great. Do you guys get mileage in together with how chaotic schedules are? Like where do you guys get mileage in? When you can, any way you can. Yeah.
We used to run together occasionally. Recently, we haven't really had the pleasure of doing that. Our schedules have just been wild, and then with my recent race that I ran, I got a little injury, so I've been kind of down. But we actually are both signed up for another ultra on March 7th. The Florida Death Race. It's a 74 miler. Yeah, it's like 2 weeks away, and we're both signed up for that one. So the goal was to run it together, but I think Nate's going to be a little quicker than me this go around because I'm still recovering from my boo boo.
Was that the Forgotten Florida 100? Was that the one that is that?
Yeah, the Forgotten Florida is the one that got me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just
you gonna be
strained
ready? You gonna be ready
got
for
a
March?
small tear.
You gonna be ready for it? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if ready's the right word, but I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna toe the line and I'm gonna give it everything I've got.
There you go. That's awesome. I can't say I've done enough. I respect the people that have. I got a good friend. His name's Joey Havelmeyer. He's here in town in Cincinnati, Ohio, and he is getting more into the ultra scene. He's always looking for like what's the next off. Honestly, no pun intended here, but with this being the suffer up, he's always looking for like the next level of like enduring suffering that he can experience and kind of like find what that was. Former collegiate athlete, but he's got a different gear and motor. He's a dude, man. So every morning I see his posts. It's awesome. Somewhere 5:30 in the morning, just hitting trails, running, logging good mileage. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That sounds like Nate. 5:30 in the morning. I'm a late night runner myself.
Okay.
Awesome.
After the day's done, all the landscaping and stuff, yeah, get into it.
Sweet. So yeah, let's go ahead. This is going to be great because basically we just had a spitball conversation about socks and shoes. So that's fantastic. That's what we're here
Dude,
for.
It's so fun.
But let's go ahead, Adam. Yeah, so awesome. So Adam, if you could just go ahead and give us high level kind of like who you are, what you're about, what you're currently doing, and kind of just an overall background of who Adam is.
Sure, man. Yeah, happy to do that. So I'm up here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm married. My wife and I have been married almost 10 years now. We have 3 kiddos, boy, girl, and just having fun. We're in that we're 6-year-old all the way down to a 6-month-old. So we're in the thick of it and enjoying that. Yeah. So my background has been in sports performance and strength and conditioning over the last 16 years. Feel very fortunate to just have some experiences from a very young age in an industry where a lot of times you are paying your dues for a while and then you might finally get your break and get lucky. And I just had such an incredible run. Couple mentors in my life, Cliff Marshall from Ignition Athletics Performance Group, and then Chris Arrington, who was the owner of Ignition, just put me in unbelievable positions to thrive and create memories and moments and work hard and learn a lot, put a lot of responsibility on me at a young age. So Ignition was servicing the sports performance, athletic performance field for professional athletes all the way down to the youth. And we have a Christ-centered focus. It was always mind, body, spirit, very similar to you guys with what the focus is. And It's what made us unique. It's what made us unique. So I cut my teeth there from a very early age. Had in high school, I needed a place to train going off to college to play ball as a preferred walk-on
Yeah.
at Miami University. And
right.
up here in Oxford, Ohio. Yep. And so needed a place to train and ended up training there and then realized, man, I could use a job too. So I asked Chris, the owner, and I just said, hey, is there any work you have here? And got me a job working at the front desk, man. I was answering the phone. I was taking payments and scheduling training sessions for people and anything else that they needed. And that turned into an internship that led into part-time work that led into a full-time gig. So I was there for a period of time. I felt the Lord pulling me in a different direction. What's next? What, we get drawn into that. What's next? Or do you have something else for me in this, Lord? Do I need to be obedient? And it ended up being moving over into the high school space and being a high school strength conditioning coach and sports performance director. So I ended up back at my alma mater, Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, and was there for nearly 8 years. And then that gentle nudge started to come back again, and it led me to another high school for a few years right here in town too, and just over the river. So in Cincinnati, you have Northern Kentucky. We're separated by the Ohio River, and we have a couple different bridges that get you right across. So it's not, you can live in Northern Kentucky, work in Cincinnati, and that's not like a large commute, and vice versa, right? You could be in Cincinnati, have a job over the river in Kentucky. It sounds a lot further than it actually is. It's not. So
Right. Yeah, that's
I was
crazy.
there I was there for a few years at an all boys Catholic school, Covington Catholic. Incredible pedigree and history there. They had a new facility that they opened up, 11,000 square feet of indoor turf and weight room space, kind of every high school strength coach's dreams, I would say. And so, yeah, man, it turned into a great situation. But a few years in, it was like, okay, I think I'm supposed to be trusting the Lord with this. And so I jumped into what I would say is full-time entrepreneurship and started running my own business. And I launched a health and fitness coaching business for men where I focus on one-on-one coaching. I have some hybrid coaches as well, or hybrid clients as well, that will come in person and train with me a few times a week. But a majority of my business is virtual health and fitness coaching. And so, yeah, man, I've been doing that almost 20 months now. Haven't even been in it for a full 2 years. But my goal is very simple, fellas. I want to build the baddest group of healthy men right here in Cincinnati. And if it expands outside of there, great. But I just want to build the baddest group of healthy men that also love Jesus. If we can do
awesome.
that exceptionally well, yeah, we're going to be okay.
Yeah. There's a huge population that is absolutely hungry for just being better dads, husbands, and fathers. And I mean, we preach it here a lot too. And you can't be a stellar, energetic dad without doing something physical, right? I mean, you think back to the dawn of time, men's bodies were designed to work and to move. And, with the conveniences of today, everything is just so chill. We can just go to the grocery store to get our food. We don't have to work with our hands as much anymore. And so I think that the world, especially America, is making a comeback when it comes to just working with our hands and getting after it and grinding to be better husbands, dads, fathers, and Christians as a whole. So I love that your mission kind of aligns
That's
with
well
that
said.
concept.
Yeah, that's well said. One thing that you just kind of sparked for me, and it's really important that men hear this, but really everybody, but men, we are called to show up at our best. That doesn't mean our best is 100%, but we're called to that. Like the people that rely on us, I talk about being the man, right? If you want to be the man, you got to be the man for your family, for the people that you lead and follow. There's a lot of responsibility that we have. And if we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't focus on our body behavior and beliefs on a regular basis and make sure there's alignment, it's really hard to show up at our best.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what they need. That's what they need us. That's what God called us into. That's how we were designed.
Yeah. No, that's solid to be able to fulfill his mission and his kingdom too, man. That's you hit the nail on the head there. That's perfect. So let's kind of dive in and open up what you're all about. And that is just, being better physically. We'll kind of hit on some physical aspects on kind of what you do. So with that, so is your gym set up or anything? Like, what is kind of like your fitness model as far as, somebody walks into your gym that's, January 1, because we all know that's the busiest day in the gym. And they're like, I want to get into shape. I want to be in better shape. So how would you begin coaching somebody that is just kind of walks into the gym? You can tell they have been kind of eating Lay's potato chips and sitting on the couch and kind of been apathetic, but they're showing that they want to be better. Kind of walk me through how you approach an individual like that.
No, that's a good question. So the first thing I'll say is I screen things ahead of time. So the way that my setup is it's private. So you won't really have anybody just be able to walk in. We're going to get on a phone call first, and we're going to deep dive. One, we're going to get to the core of like what you believe about yourself, because you're never going to be able to outperform your own self identity. And so the first thing we do is we look at that. The second thing we look at is like, what kind of behaviors do you currently have? And I have an evaluation that people go through. It's called a DREAMS evaluation. So it's an acronym. D stands for like desires and goals. R is the realities of your life, the things that are going on a daily basis and the chaos that you ensure with your scheduling and everything else in your life. E is for encouragement. How do you receive encouragement? What kind of encouragement do you need to receive? A is accountable action. What are the things that you just need to be coached on? You need to be transparent about and be told more with a bold sense of love, right? But some truth and grace mixed in there, right? The way that Jesus really approached most things. And then M is management. What are you good at managing and what do you stink at managing? What are the things you need help with that we need to be on top of from a coaching standpoint? And then S is for start and stop. I think as guys, man, sometimes we just need to acknowledge we need to start and we need to stop, right? We need to start doing something here and we need to stop doing these things here. So we go through that. We talk about it. We really drill down into that. After that point, I'm going to go into the basics. Like, so what are ways that we can stack wins? And I talk a lot about this, fellas. Like, there are so many ways for us to stack wins. They're not always physical either, but they all pour into it, right? So stacking win might be like, hey, I do my morning gratitude every morning. That is stacking a win. I'm starting my day with gratitude. The context of the day is so much better. My lens is so much better. It doesn't mean you're going to have a perfect day. It means that I'm taking the time to recognize how good life is, how good God has shown me favor, and what the things are that are happening around me that I need to make sure I'm taking in. So that's an easy way to stack a win. The next one is if you want to get better with your overall health, you need to win in the kitchen and you need to know your math. And I've talked about this with other people. I actually was on a podcast not too long ago with a couple buddies that run a cigar lounge, and they were talking about what does healthy habits and rest look like and how can cigars pair into that? I'm like, that's kind of abstract. And I also love that. I tend to enjoy a cigar time to time. I don't drink anymore. Been about 2 years now. I've only had like 5 drinks in the last 2 years. I haven't had any alcohol over the last 12 to 14 months now. And I just feel better. I don't have any problem with alcohol in terms of like, hey, don't abuse it. But, if you want to enjoy something in social setting, like I'm not here to judge. That's not for me to say anything. I like that I feel way better each and every day I wake up, way more than I enjoy the moment of the social setting and the cocktail, right? That's just me. But you got to know your math and you got to win in the kitchen. And what that means is, what are the calories that I need to be healthy and to sustain the type of living that I have? What are the calories that I need for the body composition desire I have? So it's easy for someone to say weight loss and just lose weight. And there's validity there. The scale can be a really great driver, but it's not the whole story. And so what I like to talk about is body composition, because we're focused on long-term health. The people I'm servicing are not thinking about just today and the next year. They're also thinking about 10 years from now when their kids are now in high school and they want to be able to keep up. They don't want to be a step behind. And guess what, fellas? You can't buy back time. You can't buy that back.
Amen.
So the longer you wait to try to engage, the further along you are in life, the harder and harder and harder it becomes. And most of us aren't willing to suffer, gentlemen. That's why you started the podcast, isn't it? Like, it's
Amen.
why you're embracing it and you're doing it now. And so I think that the earlier you recognize that, and then you put your value system in place around it. And that's why I'm going to hammer that. Guys, anyone can program reps and sets. Listen, I'm going to be honest. There's definitely work that has to be done, and you need to know what you're doing. You can't just, but listen, man, you can put a good prompt in AI and get a fairly decent, effective program. You don't have the human component. You don't have the human connection. You don't have the accountability that you're going to need and that people desire in order to be successful. But like, you could at least get some base level things done. It's going further than that, which is what makes it more successful when you have coaching or you have a community that you're in. And so I would say that's another big component. But what also for you guys, what helps you guys show up? Like, dude, being a firefighter and a paramedic and all that stuff, like, you got to rely on that team. Yep. Right? Hey, being a former vet and in the military, you have a team, and you got to work on that, and it makes you guys better because it's not just about yourself anymore. But besides that, let's get some quick things out of the way. Steps. You can get 10 to 12,000 steps a day completely in your control. You're able to do that. You add in resistance training. Resistance training looks a lot of different ways, right? You have time under tension. You have the resistance, the weight that you choose itself. You have the tempo in which you do that, right? And then you also have intensity levels. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. You could do a body weight workout for time and have it extremely intense and get a very good training session out of it in 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah,
right.
that's
So like,
true. I think it's important to tell people that you don't need a ton of equipment or even a ton of time. It really doesn't take more than 20 to 30 minutes to get a great high intensity workout in.
Yeah. And listen, put a note in here, fellas. I will send you guys a 4-day suffer up body weight workout only. And I promise you, we'll drop in the notes. It'll be free. They can just download a little PDF, put in their notes on their phone and do that. I won't have obviously all the exercises. That's all in my app, but like you're welcome to that. And I would love, cause it's just something easy on the go. You don't have an excuse. You're traveling. Cool. You can do it in your hotel room. Hey man, you only got a quick break at the fire department today at the firehouse. Hey man, it's a nice day. Roll the freaking garage up, get out there with 3 of the guys and just do it. Like there's no reason for you to not take 20 minutes, 30 minutes for yourself and get that done. So anyway, and sorry, I can go on a rant here, but that's an easy way to just get moving, guys, without a doubt.
No, you're totally good. That's fantastic because a lot of our listeners are, we have some ultra runners that are out there crushing it and logging the miles and doing all the things. But because Ron and I both, run ultras and do all this crazy stuff, right? We get approached by people all the time. Like there's a guy at work that's like, yeah, I'm trying to run, but it's nothing like what you're doing. And then I tell them, look, dude, what I'm doing right now is hard for Nate. But 3-4 years ago, what was hard for me was what you're doing right now, but it's just a consistent actions. And you kind of touched on it, and I'm going to kind of put you on the spot to see if you kind of are familiar with this concept. But there's this, it's not really new, but the greasing the groove. Have you heard that term?
Bro, I talk to the guys all the time about all the time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so like the concept there is really great. And I do it at work sometimes. If I know I have a busy shift, I'll put like 275 on the bar at the firehouse, and every time I walk past it, I'll do 2 reps of deadlifts. Or I'll just like, today my exercise is pull-ups. And every time I go past it, I'm going to do, I call them 5x5 pull-ups, where I do a dead hang for 5 seconds, 5 seconds up, 5 seconds hold, 5 seconds down, like a box. And then I do 5 reps of those. And throughout the day, just like however long that takes, like 2 minutes to do those, throughout the day, you get a really good pump, and it's really shocking your system. And that alone is already a fantastic thing. Or another thing I started in some firehouses was the 1,000 push-ups a day challenge. And guys were able to get 1,000 push-ups over the course of their 24 hours. And they're like, holy cow, I didn't know I could do it. So do you implement that concept in some of your training, and just some like really easy ways? Because I hear it all the time, people are busy, I'm too busy, I don't have time, this, that, and the other. Like, well, you have 10 minutes. Like,
yeah, I think this is where I land with that. So in our training, we have a very specific training program. So like we have basically what you would call like a progressive training program, right? Like it's progressions built out 4, 6, 8, and 12 weeks, depending on what you're doing, where you are. It's around your goals specifically, right? So like some guys have weight gain, muscle gain goals, strength goals. Some have weight loss, body composition change goals. There's a variety there. But what I tell guys all the time is there's always a way for you to get something in if you choose to make the time for it. And if that is 2 minutes at a time over the course of a workday and you are fully remote working at home, you can do that. You can do that. You can buy a pack of bands off of Amazon for $35 to $40, and you could do 20 pull-aparts sitting in your chair right here where I'm at right now. Do 20 pull-aparts in front of you to your chest, 20 over the head, pulling behind the head, right? Right then and there. And that you're not doing anything. You're not standing up. You don't have to go to a gym. You could just do that right there. There's good strength in that. And then here's what I heard from you, right? So in your pull-ups, you do tempoed, you do isometric, you do eccentric,
yeah,
and you do concentric. You are doing every piece of the training of a training philosophy program in one movement. Now, if someone have a pull-up bar, that's fine. There's other ways to do that, but you could stand up and do 20 bodyweight squats right now. We could do that right now on air, and it would be fine. You'd be slightly winded, slightly out of breath, but you'd be fine. So if I'm in between calls, okay, I could get up at home and I could do 20 air squats the first time. Off the next call, it's another 20 plus 10 push-ups. On the next one, it's 20 squats, 20 push-ups, and let's say 10 lunges. You can get really creative really quickly. And remember, it's about amassing the volume sometimes. It doesn't have to be, depending on goal, intensity level, right? Like, hey, I would love to be able to push the body, and you do need to do that. I believe that what we are is too comfortable, right? The suffer up part of this, like we have to do hard things. We have to strain. We have to put ourselves in an uncomfortable position. We need to fail. But that may not be the time or place for this specific goal. This might be an activity goal. And that's why steps are a really easy one. They're very attainable for you, as well as accumulation. I would recommend anybody set up a number and just try to hit it. And if you don't worry about failing on that. Say, what did I get to? Okay, then let me see if I can adjust what the threshold is to get to that. And the amount of time, you have to be aware of the amount of time that you took to get there. But you could do those two things very well. Like, you know what? It is 1,000 push-ups and I have 24 hours to do it. Okay, so if I only have 8, just work the numbers backwards and try that in your 8-hour workday and see if you can get it done. Now, if you work somewhere, that may not be the case. I'm talking specifics of like more flexibility and where you are and what you have. Maybe you're not on, if you're in a suit every day, you're going to need to wake up at 5:30 and go bang weights and do what you need to do, right? Like there's a variety of things that go into the considerations that go into what we're talking about. But what I'm saying is that it's accessible. It doesn't have to be fancy and complex for you to still train your body physically and get something adaptation wise out of it, whether it's heart health, whether it's increased VO2 max, whether it's just simply working muscles that you don't normally work on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's you hit it there too. Like it's a constant development too. I mean, I know every time that I run an ultra, and Brian's obviously sitting next to me, and he could probably attest to this as well. Every time that we run an ultra, this is what comes out of it. We always learn a life lesson every single time, and then we always learn. I have a weakness in this area. And every time that we come back from those, like the first ultra I ran, I had a serious flexibility issue, and my ankles and feet were not as strong as I thought they were. And so I suffered a minor injury, and it was basically peroneal tendonitis, ligament that runs down from the outside of your knee all the way down to your cuboid bone on your foot.
Doesn't feel good.
That just
doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good. It feels like you broke your foot, right? And so that turned into a ton of band exercises. The guys at work, if they're listening, they know who they are, and they're like, yeah, Nate's always walking around with his bands. Like, well, that's because I've just found a weakness in my body and I now have to fix it. And then every time I run one, it's like, okay, I have a win and I have a loss every single time. So
that ties into a question that we've gotten recently of people asking, like, why do you suffer? What's the premise behind this suffer up thing? Like, well, why would I intentionally suffer? Well, because life's going to happen. Life's going to life, and it's going to suck eventually. You're going to suffer at some point. And so if I'm going to suffer eventually, I want to prepare myself as best as I possibly can. So doing these hard things, like they said, we're exposing the weaknesses. Okay, great. Now I know where my shortcoming is, what I need to work on, and how I need to build it up. And not just physically. Physically is what he was just talking about, but physically, mentally, emotionally. These are what we're going to find when you push yourself to limits, you're going to find the deficiencies, and you'll walk away knowing exactly where you need to work.
Yeah, Ryan, you're when you're saying that, the theme that comes to mind, in your suffering is actually what you're doing is you're building resolve. You're building resolve, and that looks different for different people. But what I know is this, is that the more you put yourself in uncomfortable positions to suffer, the more resolve you build. And this is actually like our biology. It is actual science. Like there is studies around the brain, and the people that do this. So believe it or not, both of you guys are in categories from a profession standpoint in some point of your lives where you have shown to have a more developed area of your brain for resolve, for suffering, for that actual makeup, because you are in lines of work that constantly put you there, whether you want to be there or not. You have to. And it's profound to see that. And so you're creating these layers of resolve. And so for someone, it's like, well, cool, I'm not a firefighter or paramedic, or I didn't spend time in the military. Okay, well, let me tell you. So I do not believe that the effects of cold plunging are as significant from like a physical adaptation point as I do believe that they build mental capacity and resolve. So like for me, I'm not going to get in a cold plunge, and I don't really cold plunge a ton. I don't cold plunge a ton at all. I believe that sauna, we don't have to get down this, but I'm just saying the sauna is going to be a way better adaptation driver for certain, like, again, you could talk about it, but heart health, your chemical makeup, etc. Again, I don't want to deep dive that, but the point is this: getting in cold water for 3 or 4 minutes isn't about something it's doing to make your legs feel better. What it's actually doing is it's checking your body into saying, are you going to have fight or flight here? Are you going to have fight or flight?
Agreed.
And people get in there, and then there's flight. Nope, too cold. I'm out. Done. Take it what it's worth. I'm not saying they're not a tough person. I'm not saying, but that's a resolve thing. Like that is a resolve thing. And so Dr. Andrew Huberman talked about this on one of his episodes, where there's something called breaking through your walls. And so the goal is to break through 3 to 4 of your walls. And it was backed up by Dr. Andy Galpin talking about the way you control your breathing early on will set the tone for your ability to break through some of those walls and stay in longer. And no one's telling you to stay in for 20 minutes. What they're saying is stay in for the course of time it takes to break through your walls. So the first wall you break through is even getting in. Breaking through that wall, I'm getting in, I'm sitting down. The second one is getting your breathing under control as quickly as possible. The third one is the first negotiation of, okay, I'm good. I can get out now. Like, right? No, push past that.
Long enough.
You go, and then you go into a calming mental state. And then the fourth one is, okay, like I've definitely done it now. And you still stay in. And it's like, dude, some of that might only be 4 minutes for people. Some of that might be 6 to 8. Yeah. There wasn't like, you need to meet this time criteria. And I thought that was profound, of like, oh, it's how do I break through the walls? And how many other things could we probably associate that to besides just, a plank? I mean, dude, guys, a plank will do that to you sometimes, right? Like, just a basic bodyweight plank. But anyway, I don't know. What's your guys' take on that?
Yeah, no, I actually, I didn't know that, those 4 walls things, but I apply that principle when I run sometimes, because, I like to run, but I don't always like to run. And there's a lot of times that I go out and I'll run, and that fourth wall, it made me think of it, of like, oh, I've definitely done it now. And then you stay a little longer. Well, I'll say I'm going to go for a 5-mile run, and I always go 5.1 or 5.2. Like I always try and go more than whatever I set for myself. At the end, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep on going. I'm already here. I'll jog a little more. And there's no gain in that. I mean, like my Strava or whatever I'm tracking it on is going to show 5 point something. It's irrelevant to everyone else, but to me, it's like, no, I overachieved what I said I was going to do a little bit.
There it is.
That's building a good practice.
Right. And that's the rep you want. That's the rep you want. No, I'm just saying that's the rep you want. I love that you just said that.
And then as far as you were talking about breathing, I'll kind of relate to that too. In the firefighting world, I mean, even in the swimming world too, but with Ryan being a rescue swimmer or former rescue swimmer. But in the breathing world, like everything comes down to breathing, right? So when I'm dealing with my mental issues or whatever, right, I breathe through it. I do, I'm sure you've probably read it or heard of it, of like Dr. Grossman's box breathing technique of,
bro, so good.
in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, right? And there's a direct correlation and tie between your mind and your body. And when I'm on air in gear and things are hot with being a fireman, I know that my brain, despite my output, I can control my heart rate by doing those techniques. And so I can train my body now to control my heart rate, which is a profound thing. And you're doing the same thing in an ice bath. So if you can train your brain to process the stimulus of whatever it is, good or bad, and be able to control your external and internal reactions, you now have gained complete control of whatever situation that you could put yourself in, as long as you're able to apply it. And so, like, it's very hard to teach, but the only way to really teach it is to do it. And if you don't have the willpower to do these things that we're talking about, then you'll never understand the power of it. And that's why we always talk about like that first step, right? The first step. We had a guy at the firehouse doing an ice bath. I do them fairly regularly. I've since been kind of lax on them because I just have, and that's on me. But every shift I would come in and
just
I would
take ownership. That's nothing wrong with that. I love hearing that. That's
exactly. I have been a little lax on them, but for a long time, it was every shift. And every once in a while, I'll get in there and I get it real cold or whatever. But we had this guy that was working with us. Dude, it took him, I'm kid you not, I got out of the ice bath and he looked at it for an hour. I went and ran for an hour after my ice bath. He looked at that water for an hour and it warmed up to something like 50 degrees, which is like borderline not even effective anymore. But in any event, he looked at that thing for an hour and finally he got in there and did 1 minute and got out. And he's like, man, I'm weak. I said, no, it took you an hour. If anything, you're now tougher because it took you an hour to think and process about doing this. You finally got in there and you lasted a minute. Now, next time, go a minute 30. It sometimes takes people so much time to get there, but when they get there, it is so cool to see, wow, I can do it. Okay, now what's next?
Yeah.
You get to see that sparkle in their eye when they finally believe. And that goes back to what you said early on in this podcast, Adam, about like you have to first believe what you can do to do it. And I disagree a little bit. I think sometimes you don't believe and then you prove to yourself, oh, wow, I can do it. And you kind of surprise yourself. But at that moment, then you finally believe. And next time you'll be able to get in and last longer and do more. But that belief is so critical. And if you have, I think what I'm trying to say is if you don't believe, it's going to be very, very difficult. You're right that you do have to believe to do it. But if you don't believe, I think there's still a way, but it takes those people around you. It takes some support. And like Nate being that guy, like, yeah, just get in, stay in for a minute. Like you can go a little longer and you got all these people that believe in you. And it's kind of picking up the slack for the lack of belief that you have.
I'd agree with that. I think the openness that something is on the other side of this belief can do that. And I think that when you look at your own self-identity, if there's something that you have a desire for that you're called into, the only way to do that is to go through that wall. It's to go through that wall. And on the other side of it, there is fruit. There is something greater. And then what happens is now that identity has changed, what more belief does that open up? Like, oh, wait a minute. I'm the only one in the way of this.
I have such a silly, two silly examples. Well, one's not really silly. One's very silly about belief. And that's, I've been running for a very long time. Like, I ran in middle school cross country, I think. So been running for a lot of years, not super competitively. It was never that great. And I enjoy long distance running. So I started that back up a few years back, and I would call myself a distance runner, but not a marathoner, not an ultra marathoner. And then last year, as Nate and I were looking at doing ultras and signing up for more really long distance stuff, I bought a ultra running vest that's going to hold like your water and nutrition and stuff while you run. And I remember the first time I put it on, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I'm a flipping ultra runner, man. Like I look like an ultra runner. And it was like that moment in my mind that I believed it. And I was like, I'm a freaking ultra runner. and I went out for like a 20-mile run the next day. But it's silly, but it's 100% true that sometimes it takes external things to get you to believe. But it's necessary. Adam, did we lose?
No, I'm here. All right, can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
One thing I do know about that is, we joke about it with athletes, but man, sometimes when you look the part, you might be able to you might need to bring it together, look good, feel good, play good, it's like, all right, well, maybe there's a little bit of identity in that.
Yeah, 100%. And the second thing that where I would say I was lacking the belief, but the people around me got me through it, was a few weeks back when I ran my 100 miler. Going into that, it was something that scared me. It was daunting, and I really didn't know if I could do it. I was pretty confident that I could do the 50 miles, the first half, fairly, not easily, but I was confident, very confident in my abilities to get through that part without major issue. But the thought of the full 100 really scared me, and I wasn't sure if I could do it. But everybody around me that came to support me, my wife, my dad, Nate, who ran with me the second half, the belief that they all had in me to just keep going and do this thing, it was, oh man, I don't even know how to describe it. It was, I'm just so grateful for it because it was so necessary. I mean, there was times in the middle of the night where without that belief, I definitely would have quit. But because I had all these people around me believing in me, it was just, I'm going to take another step, or I'm going to get back up after this aid station and I'm going to walk some more. There was no question about it. It was just, I'm going to do it. Nate knelt down next to me one time in the chair and said, all right, you got 2 minutes and then we're getting up. And I just said, okay, let's do it. Actually, I think I looked at him and I said, Roger that. Like, I was locked in. Yeah. I was on the mission because they believed in me, and there was no question about it. So if you don't have the belief in yourself, find some people around you who believe in you, because with one of those things, either self-belief or others believing, you can do it.
Yeah. Can I add one thing to that?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
For those of you listening that are believers or in their faith, maybe don't have faith, whatever it may be, I want you to hear this, and I really mean it with all my heart. Like, God says that you are enough. God says that you are worthy. God designed us in his image, and God also made us to do hard things. He designed us for that. He designed us for a life that is supposed to have hard challenges and a heavy yoke ahead. But he does make that yoke light when you invite him into that too. So just like me making sure I'm being obedient to what I really know is truth. And if you're like, hey man, I don't resonate with that, that's okay. I hope someday that you'll remember this Suffer Up episode that you listen to when that does happen, because I know that to be truth. And it's helped me in quite a few different situations of knowing who I am and whose I am, because I am enough and I am capable of doing these things.
Yeah, that's really profound, Adam. That's awesome. I'm going to kind of turn gears just a little bit. We kind of hit on the physical and some of the mental aspects that kind of tie in with fitness and overall just well-being and health, mind, body, and spirit. But I think, like you said it earlier in the episode, about you got to win in the kitchen, right? And so if you want to kind of open up, and I'm not saying this whole episode is nutrition, right? But just high level, some basic principles that somebody that is trying to essentially, we're trying to create well-rounded individuals. Not, when I mean rounded, I don't mean like when you look at them, they're round. I'm talking just healthy individuals.
I got what you mean, bro. Yeah, I got what you mean.
So like how would somebody take the nutrition advice, and how could they implement that in a very simple way?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's start with context, because I think context is key. If you are someone who's looking to change your body composition, lose weight, get more healthy, put on muscle, get better aerobically. All right. So there's a couple components there, but you're still fueling for performance. But what you're doing is you're having to change the way you do it. Now, I'm not a registered dietitian. Okay. So like if you're looking for meal plans and for all of these other components, I would highly recommend looking to like a professional in that. But here's what I've picked up as good habits from strategic ways to do this from really, really good dietitians out there and sports performance, nutrition counselors, all of that stuff. Like the things that I've picked up are like knowing what your body needs to expend each day, knowing what the deficit is. So here's something a lot of people don't even know. 1 pound is equivalent to 3,600 calories. So just like use that as a simple reference. If I wanted to gain weight, I need to be in a surplus of 3,600 calories a week. If I want to gain 1 pound a week, if I want to lose 1 pound a week, I need to be in a deficit of 3,600 calories. So if you do the math on that, that's roughly a 500 plus or minus of calories a day. So if I want to lose a pound a week, in theory, I'm shooting for being in a deficit of 500. Now, how do I get to that? I need to know what it is that my body needs every day. And then I need to be under that by 500 in eating. And then on top of that, exercise. Don't add that and pad it. Make sure your body is utilizing what you give it at that 500 deficit. So if I'm a 2,500 total daily expenditure of calories to just operate, your TDEE, which that's something you can find online easily and calculate. You could put that in ChatGPT. You could do that a lot of different ways. But anyway, so you'd calculate that out and you would subtract roughly 500 calories from that. And that would be the deficit that you're in on a daily basis. On top of that, if I run let's say go out and run 5, run 10, I burn anywhere from 600 to 1,000 calories. The goal would be to make sure that you fuel during that. And we'll talk about intra fueling. I think that's an important thing, especially for people that are doing exercise and running specifically. But yeah, so you would not want to eat 1,000 calories more to supplement that. You would want to use what your body has. And obviously then it's going to start to take from reserves there. But your protein levels and fiber need to be high. So protein, some people will argue, I would say if you're just starting out, just so you're getting wins, 0.75 grams of protein per pound of body weight. If you're normal, active, like a little bit higher in expenditure every day of calories, you're probably going to be 1 gram. Like for me, I shoot for 200 to 225 grams of protein every single day. I'm 230 something right now. My goal would be to get to 220. I'm a little heavy, but this is like a weird flex, but like I have a lot of muscle. Like last time I was on the body comp scale, I was still 19.5% body fat.
Yeah.
Like I could be less, I could be way less and way more trim, but I'm not unhealthy with that. Now I'm not running ultras, gentlemen. I can tell you that. God did not design me as an ultra marathon runner. He designed me as a pack mule. So I am I'm the guy. You load me up with weight and tell me where to go, and I got you. I love to ruck. I'm a big rucking guy.
That's awesome.
So again, let's dial this back in for nutrition. So that would be one area if you're looking at weight loss or weight gain, knowing that 3,600 calories is 1 pound, how to do that. Another thing for fueling is your protein, right? Your protein source, but people overlook carbs. Guys, carbs have been bastardized, and I really struggle with it because they're so important and what you do with them. Now, if you're eating crap and getting carbs from that, that's no good. If you're eating high sugars and processed stuff and sugars, that's not good. But you need carbs. And so on a hard training day, a hard running day, you need to assume 1 to 1.5 grams of carbs per minute of exercise intra. That means during, to keep up. So like if you guys go on a 20 miler, you should think about what roughly is that amount of time and make sure that you have that in your gel packs, your bars, your drinks while you're running, if you want to actually stay properly fueled through that. How do you guys normally fuel during your long runs, your training, and then actual ultras?
It's funny that you say that because you said 1 to 2 grams of carbs per minute.
minute. And that might be off for some. Again, that's without me knowing your metabolism, without me knowing.
No, of course. So we're sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, wait, my recent one that I just did was 37 miles and that was 7 hours. I take that times 60, that's 420. So I need to be consuming, we'll say it's on the 2 sides, so that's 840 grams over the course of that 7 hours is what you're saying.
Of that, if you want to maintain your fuel levels and stay on it, bro. And if you're not, what you're now drawing from is other fuel sources.
Yeah.
Or you're just depleting completely. And that's not to mention electrolytes. That's not to mention anything else. But yeah, man, like we need to perform at a high level.
That actually, now putting it into context, because I've had the breakdown before. I typically will hit 60 to 80 every hour. So I guess I am kind of within. I'm within the mark there.
Yeah. So we're just looking at it differently. We're just looking at the math differently, but it's still mathing the same way to the end goal. Yeah.
And then so with that, like for endurance athletes, Ironman, ultras, all that kind of stuff, where like we could hit on the carbs and eventually your stomach does get to a point where we call it the bubble guts. And a lot of that's training your stomach and all that kind of stuff. But do you encourage like on those endurance where you're kind of trying to stay in, a heart rate zone of like 120 to 160? Obviously it depends on the individual, but with a high protein intake during those events? And if so, what protein source would you recommend?
No. So this is where it would start to get a little muddy for me. So like, I'm not going to act like I don't have the answer to that.
That's fair.
I would tell you my gut says, not much, not much, because here's the deal. Are you in an aerobic or an anaerobic state at that point?
100%
You're in
aerobic.
a high aerobic state.
Yeah.
So you need tons of oxygen and you have a fire that is burning like hell right now, right?
Yeah, right.
That is what's happening. What is going to, like, protein is not something that the body's processing at that level. But guess what it can? Sugars and carbs.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe a little fat depending on how it's set up, but no, it's sugar and carbs.
So you're saying gummy bears.
Dude, I'm saying anything that you can take down that doesn't give you bubble guts and go, like you can keep that butt moving on the trail, do it. So yes, gummy bears, honey, the those little like Belgian waffle cookie things, like those little stingers
like
and
stingers.
Stuff like that. Yeah, dude, those are great. Listen, man, I got a guy that's like so smart. His name's Dr. Lane. Got introduced to him from another buddy in the industry. He's down at Eastern Kentucky University. He's training with us one day. My man is just like pounding licorice. And I'm like, you are the sickest dude in the world. But like also, then he's like turning around and he can rip so much weight on a deadlift and everything. Like the guy's he's incredible. But I'm like, talk to me, Doc. Like that's why I call him Doc, Dr. Lane. I was like, well, talk to me, Doc. He's like, sugar. Like it was just that simple for him. He's just like, sugar. And I go, yeah. I'm keeping up with my training. Like right now I'm slow burning on this eccentric loaded work, but my fuel needs to keep going. I don't want to lose any of that energy and I don't want to start pulling from other sources. So he was like crushing about, I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, so would a bag of Sour Patch Kids be okay? I'm laughing. And he goes, if you can handle that, yeah, like it was an afterthought. So dried fruit is a hard one. Like it can be good, but sometimes that fiber, the fibrous can be hard on people. Just depends on stomachs.
In ultra running, I know that the dried fruits can be challenging because of your hydration also.
Yeah, it draws from that, right? So you just you have to be thoughtful of that. But dude, man, honey, what a great gift God gave us, right? And it's so funny because that's like biblical, right? This like honey, but honey's a phenomenal one. And then man, your sugars. Anything light on the carbs from like the breads or the different grains. It just, again, it depends on your body. But yeah, guys, without a doubt, the better performers are going to be the ones that are working through that and understand that. So like leading up to the race, during the race, and then afterwards, it's you obviously want to make sure you're fueling well, but like at that point, it's also like, man, I just want whatever I want right now too. Like you got to introduce things little by little back in, kind of like a fast, right? If you go on a longer fast, which also I'm a big fan of, trying to fast at least once or twice a month if you can.
Nice.
Is just an incredible thing to do, both biblically and scientifically, right?
How long?
So typically 24 with just water, maybe some black coffee if you need a little bit of stimulant. But man, when 24 becomes like just kind of a casual thing, we're not really suffering, right? And it's not about the suffer in its entirety, but there is something to that. So I would say a group of guys that I coach with, we all did a 72-hour fast sometime last year, I think Q4. And it was really great. And we'll be doing one again here soon. I try to pair my training blocks so that the more guys that want to do that, we're all kind of in sync there, right? With what we're doing. And so yeah, fasting is something I would highly recommend. 72 hours pushes you for sure. 72 hours pushes you, but you get in that ketosis state. Like I dropped almost 7 pounds and like 1.5% body fat.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm sure someone would be like, yeah, he's full of it. I just went off of what my 2 scale readings said. Like I didn't go in an underwater calibration. Sure. Someone slapped me on the hand. I'm just telling you what I saw in the numbers, and I was pretty diligent on it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, can I put myself on blast for a second though?
Hit it.
I did not suffer up the full 72. I went almost to 70. And I didn't see in my mind right then and there, I didn't see the benefits of the last 2 hours. Like my buddy and I put in some stuff in ChatGPT and all this other, and my timing for the day. And this was going to be more convenient for me. But gentlemen, that's not the point. So I'm calling myself out here and saying, next time I do my 72 hours, you better believe it's going to be a full 72. And I'm not going to go off maybe even more, brother. Like truly. And
it's like those walls you were talking about earlier. Like you didn't make it past the 3rd wall. So next time you're going to make it all the way past the 4th wall and go 72.5 or 73.
It was a personal decision. And like, I look back and I was kind of like, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's kind of lame. Like, dude, she did a 72-hour fast. Do a 72-hour fast. So that's
what I love about fasting. Yeah, no, that's really good. And that's awesome. We preach accountability, so good on you, man. But what I find about fasting, like the longest one I've ever done would be a 96-hour. And I've got a good friend of mine. I tell him that I'm fasting because I believe like you shouldn't like preach that you're fasting, but he's a really close, good friend of mine that I used to work with. And I'll ask him like, when's your next fast? And he'll tell me. And so like we kind of encourage each other through those fasting seasons. And I told him, I'm like, hey man, I'm on a fast. I'm going to try to go this long. And he checks in every single day. But this joker, we're going to have him on the podcast at some point. He's done like 10 to 14 day fasts. And
wow.
And he's a fireman and he still goes to work. The dude's a machine, but just he's an
And he only does water on those? He only does water?
He does water, coffee, black coffee, and he says he'll do pickle juice.
Yeah, just for the electrolyte.
But you can't get the other sugary pickles. You got to get the ones that don't have any sugar in them.
Right, yeah. That was the one thing I probably didn't say in ours. So ours was water, coffee, and electrolyte drinks. Like we told them, try to do 0 calorie electrolyte drinks, but definitely you definitely need to make sure you're putting electrolytes back in.
Yeah, we use Element because they are a 0 calorie stick, and it's got the salt, magnesium, and potassium in them, which your body does need. And I still try to keep up my training during the fast, which then it really sucks. To be honest,
talk about suffering up. There you go. Do that.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, my times are slower, but I'm like, well, I still gotta hit my 20 to 40 miles this week, so let's go get it. And
I'd recommend on that one, anyone that's going to try that, start with only walks. Like just do like a longer walk, like maybe do a couple mile walk during that fast. Use it as meditation time, prayer time.
Yeah.
Or just enjoy it, whatever. I don't care. But I think start there. And then if you wanted to introduce like intermittent running within that, walk, run a quarter mile, walk, just slowly. Now, if you're already training the way you guys are, your familiarity, a little different, but I know that you have a large range of people on here. So don't
yeah,
take what we're
100%.
saying and then apply all of this at once. Utilize little bits and pieces and make it your own. But
this could be dangerous.
Be mindful of the suffering. Be mindful of it.
Absolutely. Well, Adam, man, we really appreciate having you on. Before we let you go, I want to ask you one last question that we try to ask all of our guests, and that is there a time in your life where you suffered or where you went through something and you came through the other side, and looking back, reflecting on it, you can see how that suffering was worth it, how there was a purpose behind it, and the lesson that you learned was worth it all?
Yeah, man. I had a couple instances in my life where, you look at the situation and you think, okay, why is this going on? Or what is the, what am I trying to be told here, Lord? What are you doing? Had a couple years ago at my last stint in my high school, kind of like stopped before I went out on my own. Just had a series of things go down around differences in opinions, and one way or another was moved out of a certain role and was basically had kind of given my power, been given away. From that standpoint, I couldn't utilize it, and it was hard, man. I had to take up my cross every single day to go in and still work with them, even though I wasn't in charge. I had to basically change my whole program around and accommodate accordingly. It was a really hard period of time. And I haven't actually ever shared this publicly. I've only shared it like in conversation where it's not recorded. But I think it's okay to share it. I had people ask me all the time, like, how are you going to work every day and doing this? And I said, the only way I'm really doing this is because I literally come in, I get everything set up, and then I spend time in prayer and I read my Bible until it's time to actually get that work done for the day. And maybe time of that was like 2 or 3 hours, like just intentionally around that. And that was all that I did. And it's what helped me get through the moments. And I really felt like what God was telling me through that is, I'm putting you in a spiritual boot camp right now to prepare you for what's to come. And when you're done with that, you need to listen and go, because I'm commissioning you. And that was me literally leaving a very good job, one of the higher paid people in my specific profession. Did very well, had a lot of awesome things going, but it wasn't the fruit that God had for me. And after he took me through that spiritual boot camp and training and getting me aligned, he commissioned me and said, it's time for you to trust me. And I alluded to that earlier of like, I left and started my own business. And now I've been in it, coming up on 2 years now, and God's just remained so faithful. But it may not seem like a lot. I'm not going to get into all the details, but brother, it was hard to go into work every day for a period of time, just knowing how things went down, feeling like it wasn't just, but staying in it, kind of breaking the walls, and did that for over 6 months. And I'm so glad it happened. I'm so glad it happened. It made me recognize, like, now I'm picking my kids up. I'm taking them to school, way more present. I can be on a podcast middle of the day with you guys, talking to a bunch of people that believe in a lot of the same things, and people who are listening that want more. I can go pick up a couple bags of coffee from a buddy this afternoon and have 2 client calls. I mean, dude, I'm living the dream, man. God's just got me in the midst of it, even when it's a rough month of cash flow, because I didn't, learn and time things up right. And I'm still learning in this business, but he remains faithful and continues to show up. So that's my answer on that one.
Amen to that, man. It sounds like he used that time of suffering to really prepare you and
so well,
just develop you for what was next. And I think that's common, man. Like that's what God is doing in our lives. He's preparing us, he's equipping us, and we don't see it now, but in the end, when it all plays out, we look back and go, man, okay, I see what you did there, God.
Yeah, I would have not seen the fruit of that and learned had I just said, well, this is BS, I'm out, see ya.
Yeah.
And just jumped and done something else, and not even like staying in it, right? Just staying in it and getting quiet and having resolve and just trying to find this thing inside of you that you didn't know existed. And it just produces a different level of fruit. And I think the man that I am in the short 20 months of doing this, has developed more simply because I stayed in that for 6 or 7 months before deciding to trust and really listening to trust. A book for anyone listening that hasn't done this, Mark Batterson, 40-day Draw the Circle, and like the 40-day prayer journal that goes with that, but the book Draw the Circle. Put that in the notes. Note that down, guys. You want to talk about circling something in prayer, and like it changed my prayer life and the way I approach it, and it just changed my overall viewpoint on like how God works in a lot of our lives. So that would be a great one for someone to read or listen to on Audible.
Awesome. Thank you. I just added that to my Audible list. Draw the Circle by Mark Batterson.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, man. I again really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come and talk to two dudes about God and fitness. It means a lot to us, and I think that it's going to mean a lot to our listeners to hear what you had to say. On that note, what is the name of your business, and how can our listeners find you? If somebody's interested in training with you, how do they get in touch with the coach?
Thanks for asking, man. Yeah, it's simple. CoachAtallah.com. www.coachatallah.com. You can find me on Instagram, Coach Atallah, LinkedIn too. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. Obviously, Ryan, that was our connection too, man, which is pretty cool. So LinkedIn, I'm on there, just Adam Atallah on LinkedIn. And if you wanted to set up something, you can book a coaching call with me. It's just a connection call. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. We can jam for 30 minutes, hear a little bit about you, hear what you're trying to do, and see if there's a way that I can help you. And if not, hopefully at least give you some direction and, a little bit of value there. Hopefully add some value into someone's life and leave them better than when we started.
Absolutely.
Well, Adam, it has been an absolute pleasure. We're so thankful that you're able to get on here for us. Just to kind of recap, we are going to make sure that we have all of your information in the show notes of this episode. We are also going to make sure that we put that book recommendation in the bottom as well. And I'll wait to hear from you. Well, obviously when this is published, it'll be up, but that 4-day Suffer Up Fitness program, if you will, to kind of get a taste of who you are, what you do, and all that. And we just want to encourage you guys. We hope that today was insightful for you and you feel motivated to start exactly where you're at. And because God will also meet you where you're at. So let's try to really focus in on trying to just better ourselves. And if Nate or Ryan can be of any help or encouragement to you, or if Coach Adam could also be any help to you guys, please reach out. That might just be your first step, is to just reach out and have a conversation. And those conversations lead to bigger and better things. So, Adam, again, thank you so much for coming on here with us.
Yep, you bet. Suffer up and suffer well.
That's it, my man. Thank you so much. Guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Suffer Up podcast with Nate, Ryan, and Adam Atallah. Please go back and listen to some of our other episodes, and hopefully you guys are encouraged by this. We love you all so much, and thanks for listening. And as always,
suffer up.